बोलो वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की। प्रपन्नाहं सदा श्यामा गुरु पादारविन्दयो तस्य प्रेरणया तस्य दिव्यादेशं वदाम्यहम्। अहो वकीयं स्तनकालकूटम् जिघांसयापा ययदप्यसाध्वी लेभे गतिं धात्र्युचितां ततोऽन्यम् कं वा दयालुं शरणं व्रजेम। यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वम् यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तग्मंह देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशम् मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। The divine souls. Last week I began the topic of this eternal quarrel between souls and God, where God says there's a sequence you have to follow. You surrender, I grace you, and then you receive all the associated benefits. And souls stubbornly say, why don't you grace me first, then I'll surrender. From the soul's point of view, we say, you're all powerful, you can do anything you want, so why don't you show yourself to me? Then I'll believe in you. But I explained that before a soul is qualified, there's no benefit in receiving that vision of God. Why are we unqualified? Because we have Mayic senses and a Mayic mind. Therefore, we can perceive Mayic things, and that too within certain parameters. The electromagnetic spectrum is only visible to us within a certain range. We can't see ultraviolet light, and we can't see infrared light. We can only see the ones in between. So even within the field of Maya, our senses are so limited, and God is Satchidanand. He is beyond Maya. Chidananda Maya. देह तुम्हारी विगत विकार जान अधिकारी. Tulsidas Ji says you have to be qualified in order to see God really. I explained to you that even during Shri Krishna's avatar or any avatar of Bhagwan, if any ordinary soul were to come in front of God, we would not have the experience like King Janak did, where he was instantly drowned in divine bliss, because we are not qualified like he was. He already had a divine mind. He was immersed in the bliss of formless God, and he was already beyond Maya. So when he saw Bhagwan Ram, God in his personal form, he instantly experienced and perceived the divine beauty, which is unlimited, ever new, ever fascinating. And if the same Shri Ram or Shri Krishna were to appear before us, we would not be fascinated. We would not feel bliss. We would be bored. Because we don't have the right eyes. We need divine eyes to see him. So his appearing before us would actually undermine our faith in him. Because our reaction would be, oh, this is what all the saints are talking about? What's the big deal? So there's no benefit in God just appearing before us. So then souls may argue, well then just give me divine eyes. What are you waiting for? Why do I have to surrender for you to give me the divine eyes? I explained this as well, that God has given souls free will. When we say, grace me, where would God give us that kripa? In our antahakarana. We call it mind or heart in English. And that mind of ours is our instrument for thinking and doing, and we have control over it. We are independent, and we decide what to do with it. God does not control our mind. We have turned our mind away from God. In other words, it is closed to receiving God's grace. Even though we say God is all-powerful, God abides by his established rules. And one of those rules is souls have free will. If souls stubbornly refuse to turn their mind towards Shri Krishna, then how will he grace us? Where will he grace us? In our mayic mind, which is turned away from him and closed to him. That's why there's a term, vimukh. We are vimukh, or turned away from Shri Krishna. Those who turned towards Shri Krishna instantly received his grace. Bhidyate hridayagranthishchidyante sarvasanshraya chiyante chasya karmani tasmin drishte paravare. Mundaka Upanishad says, the moment you surrender to God, all the confusions, all the doubts, all the mental problems, in other words, the mayic bondage is finished forever. Chiyate chasya karmani. All your past karma are also deleted. And drishte paravare. You meet God in his divine form. You have his divine vision. That's what's waiting for us. Tameva sharanam gaccha sarvabhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. Gita also says, Krishna tells Arjuna, when you surrender to God, God graces you, and with his grace, you receive divine, perfect peace and a divine status forever. In other words, he gives you unlimited sat, unlimited chit, unlimited anand. Mokchaishyami ma shuchaha. Also from Gita. Krishna says, Mamekam sharanam vraja. Surrender to me and I'll free you from all the bondages. He's just anxious to grace us. He's willing to grace us any moment that we open our heart. I gave you the analogy of someone going out in a rainstorm to collect rain, but turning their container upside down. Then would it be correct to blame the clouds if you weren't able to collect any pure rainwater? Of course not. It's your fault for turning the vessel upside down. Similarly, when our mind is turned away from Sri Krishna, how can we blame him for not having graced us? He says, there's no delay from my side. I'm ready and willing to grace you the moment you open your heart to me. In fact, he's doing so much already, whatever he can without us being surrendered to him. You see, he's sitting in here giving life to our very soul. He's doing that without our permission, without our surrender to him. So at least he's doing that much, right? We say, oh, why just grace me even though I'm not surrendered? He's already gracing so much even though we're not surrendered, giving life to our soul since eternity. He does srishti so that we souls under the bondage of Maya can become active in the world. We're eternally under the bondage of Maya, but if he leaves this Maya in the dormant phase of pralay, then we're also dormant, and we never have any hope of attaining bliss, of attaining Shri Krishna. So he activates Maya and gives us a birth in this world. He keeps track of our karma so that in our next life we continue where we left off in this life and our devotional progress wouldn't be lost. And we also get the results of our past karma so that we can learn from our mistakes and have at least some fear of being punished if we do wrong things or hurt others. He provides this earth with all this life on it, all the different vegetarian food sources for us. He arranges all of this even though we're not surrendered to him. So for us to say, grace me even though I'm not surrendered, Krishna says, I'm already gracing you to the maximum. That grace is on everybody, whether they be my devotee or a Rakshas. Everybody is receiving this utmost grace already. On top of that, he produces Ved in the world, Puran, Gita, all the scriptures. He sends his saints, saint after saint after saint on earth to guide us and inspire us, and he also takes avatar. So when you think about it, what is there that he's not doing for us, even though we're not surrendered to him? And then if a soul even starts to turn towards him, Jo tu dhave ek pag to main dhaun saath. Shri Krishna says, if a soul takes one step towards me, I run 60 steps towards them. Imagine, he's so much more excited to meet us even than we are to meet him yet at this stage, at our elementary stage. But that doesn't dissuade him or discourage him. He's so excited if we make even a little bit of effort in devotion that we take one step and he runs 60 steps towards us. And he's not getting anything from any of that. He's not getting any benefit from all the work he's doing for us on our behalf. And yet he does it happily because we are his. We may not accept him, but he has already accepted us. Then, when we bring up this doubt that it sounds to me like your love is conditional because you're saying, I won't grace you until you surrender to me. Now you see what an absurd argument that is for a soul to make. His love for us is unconditional. His grace is unconditional. Opening our heart to receive it is not a condition or a price of receiving that grace. It is merely the act of accepting it, the means of receiving it. That's all. There's no condition or price on that grace. Last week I concluded by saying that there's a process of gradually becoming surrendered. If we are turned away from Him and we want to become sanmukh, it doesn't happen all at once. It happens as a process. And that process is called bhakti. Or more specifically, sadhana bhakti. Sadhana means something you practice in order to reach a goal. Our goal is to become 100% turned towards Shri Krishna. In other words, to open our heart to His grace 100%. That's the goal, and we're doing sadhana to make that happen. We're doing sadhana to purify our heart, the impurity of our heart, all the past sins, all the past thoughts, all those sanskars, they're all accumulated in our mind. We have to clear that out. If our mind was 100% pure and any saint came to us and said, just surrender to Krishna and you'll get His grace, we would instantly surrender. But we have to purify our heart. That's what's preventing us from surrendering. And the process of devotion is the gradual effort that we make to purify our mind and become surrendered, or in other words, to gradually turn towards Shri Krishna. The process involves attaching our mind to Shri Krishna. That is the essence of it. Smarana. Manera smarana prana. The essence or the life of devotion is remembering Shri Krishna. When you do smarana of someone, that smarana is something that happens deep in your heart. It's not a mental exercise or an intellectual exercise that you're doing. When you do smarana of someone, why are you doing smarana? Because they mean something to you. It's a loved one or perhaps somebody that you despise. But either way, they're deep in your heart. They mean something to you. The one that you love, you feel you belong to them and they belong to you. You feel that if this person comes close to you, they'll make you happy. So they're very important to you. And when you do smaran, you think deeply about that person. This person, if I meet them, I'll be happy. You think of their face, you think of their qualities, of their personality, and you repeatedly reflect upon it. That is called smaran. Now, we also do the same thing with someone that we despise, and the result is the same. That person also deeply enters into our heart. But in devotion, we take the positive aspect of that smaran, and we try to repeatedly and constantly reflect upon our relationship with Shri Krishna. He is mine. He has been mine forever. Even though I'm not surrendered to Him, He never leaves me. And He always keeps gracing me. If I get to meet Him face to face, I'll get perfect happiness. I want to serve Him. I want to see Him and then do something to make Him happy. These are all the feelings that a devotee gets when they do smaran. Our mind is always active. Nahi kaschit charnamapi jatu tishthatya karmakrit Gita. Our mind is always thinking of something. If we don't direct the activities of our mind towards Shri Krishna, then it's going to do smaran of the world, definitely. Because the mind is always looking for love and happiness. So if we don't tell our mind and forcefully direct our mind, your perfect love and happiness is Shri Krishna, then it's going to keep going in the world and doing smaran of the world and multiplying our worldly bondage. Vishayan dhyayataschittam vishayeshu vishajjate mamanusmarataschittam mayyeva praviliyate. Bhagavatam. Shri Krishna says, repeated remembrance or smaran of worldly relations, pleasures, desires, that multiplies the mayic bondage. It multiplies your mayic attachments. But if you do the same smaran of Shri Krishna, your mind gradually becomes in a state of union with Him and becomes more and more purified. In other words, the act of doing smaran of worldly desires and objects of desire makes the mind more impure. And the act of doing smaran of Shri Krishna, His name, His leelas, His qualities, that purifies the mind. This is the essence of devotion, and this is the process through which our mind gets purified so that we can gradually become more and more surrendered. And when we become 100% surrendered, then we receive the ultimate grace of Shri Krishna, which allows us to actually meet Him face to face in His divine form and experience His unlimited divine bliss. Last week, I announced that if anybody had any questions, I could answer those questions here during this session. And I actually got quite a few questions sent to me, and they're mostly related to this topic. So where I finished, that we have to do sadhana bhakti, by remembering God and Guru to purify our mind so that we can receive Shri Krishna's grace. And at the very end, when the mind is 100% purified, then it's actually the Guru who graces us with Shri Krishna's personal power, Swarup Shakti, and that makes our mind divine. And into our divine mind, we receive His divine bliss and divine love. Thus, the Guru has an integral role, not only in guiding us and inspiring us and gracing us up to that point of 100% heart purification, but even at that moment of 100% heart purification, it is the Guru who divinizes our mind and senses, makes our mind and senses divine, and who transfers the divine bliss and premanand into our mind. It is Guru who does that. The first question that I'm going to answer here today is in this same sequence of understanding. The person is asking, they're relating their situation and saying that they never got the opportunity to meet Shri Maharaj. So this is about Guru and how Guru graces us. They watch Shri Maharaj's lectures on television, and because of that, they started practicing sadhana, bhakti, and because of that, their love for Radha Krishna has been growing. Now the question is, when I've never met Shri Maharaj face to face, then when my heart becomes 100% purified, what's the process? Because now I can't meet Maharaj face to face, and I need a divine Guru to grace me with God realization. So what is the status or the situation of that person who never met Maharaj and who now feels they can't leave Maharaj because Maharaj, or they can't meet Maharaj because Maharaj is not in his visible form? In this case, something very special happens. Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj is the Guru for so many people who got the opportunity to meet him. And he's the Guru for so many people who didn't have the chance to meet him. And we have to have faith that we met him or came into contact with his satsang at the right time for us. If that right time that was most beneficial for us was when we could have physically met him, then that would have been arranged by Shri Krishna. And if we met him after that, then it was arranged by Shri Krishna like that for a reason, because that would benefit us most. Any of us, whether those of us who have met Shri Maharaj Ji physically or those of us who haven't and who have only known him through video or through audio lectures or his books and his Kirtan, the process is the same. Having not met Shri Maharaj Ji physically does not change anything. He is still your Guru. He is still gracing you right now if you accept him in your heart. If you are ananya to him and you follow his instructions for devotions, he is gracing you right now, whether you have met him or you haven't met him. And when our heart is 100% purified, Maharaji will come to us at that time. At that time, we're qualified to see Radha Krishna and we're qualified to see Maharaji. And he will come to us and grace us with that divine realization. So there's no worry, there's no complication. In the case of Shri Maharaji, he is still gracing all the devotees as he was when he was physically visible to us. And if we simply follow his instructions for devotion and continue on this path, we have to have full faith that he will grace us at that time when we become qualified. And until then, we just keep following his instructions and reap the benefits along the way of this devotional path. Reap the benefits along the way of his grace, even though we're not able to physically see him. But we have to know he's still physically with us. It's just that we are not qualified to see him yet. So that's a very important question to get clarified in your mind. Maharaji is still gracing everybody. A brand new person who comes to this path can still make Shri Maharaji their guru, even though they can't physically see him. And he will grace them, and they can go right up to God realization. They don't need any other guru, they don't need any other complication, only Maharaji is your guru. As a follow-up to this question, there are a couple of questions about pracharaks, which are also very good to clarify the role of pracharaks in all of this. So I'll just read the question as it was sent to me. If a sadhak means someone following this path of sadhana. If a sadhak wants, can that sadhak do sadhana by themselves without being under a pracharak? What are the advantages and disadvantages of doing sadhana under a pracharak versus doing sadhana by myself, accepting Maharaji as the guru? So this is a very important point to clarify. Maharaji is the only guru. In Jagadguru Kripalu Parishat, in our organization, forever there will only be one guru, Shri Maharaji. Shri Maharaji never established any sampradaya, meaning a lineage, that he's Jagadguru and now when he's going to disappear from the earth, then somebody else should take his place and carry on that lineage, so then people should get attached to that person. Maharaji did not establish a sampradaya because he knew it wasn't necessary. He decided to stay here with us, even though he's not visible to us. So we don't need anybody else except Shri Maharaji. We can look at the example being set by Maharaji's own divine family, Maharaji's own divine daughters, Guru Putri. Our dear divine didis, our highly respected didis who are part of Maharaji's divine family, descended divine saints. Look how they are behaving in Seva to Shri Maharaji. Even though they are 100% qualified to be a guru, Shrotriya Brahmanisht, yet they do not act as gurus. They do not behave as gurus, saying that accept me as your guru and I will guide you. Even though they're 100% qualified to do so, they also say, Maharaji is your guru. So in our organization, only Maharaji is the guru. We only need Maharaji. So when Maharaji's own divine family is setting such a precedent, then there's no question of any pracharak being a guru or acting as a guru. Pracharaks have been delegated or appointed by Sri Maharaji to do the seva of spreading his teachings and promoting his mission. That's our seva to do. We're lucky to have that opportunity that Maharaji gave us the chance to do some seva. But no pracharak is meant to act as any guru. So the language of this question, we should think about that, the statement being under a pracharak. So no sadhak, no devotee is under any pracharak. You're directly connected to Maharaji. That should be your attitude. Maybe you came to the path through a pracharak. Maybe Maharaji arranged for that to happen. But your direct connection is with Sri Maharaji. A pracharak can't help you any more than any other devotee can help you. Maharaji can grace you. That's it. That's all you need. Now, pracharaks, maybe you can think of them as, okay, if you're, well, let me read further ahead, the next question in this same line. Is it necessary to be ananya to a pracharak? Let me rephrase. Is it necessary to stay and do sadhana with only one pracharak? Is it necessary to do seva with only one pracharak? If Maharaji is the guru, isn't it the same whether I do seva through one pracharak or I do it through multiple? Or are the results different? Why or why not? So here I would just say, let's say you live in an area where a pracharak comes. So that pracharak is coming to promote Maharaji's mission and spread Maharaji's teachings. So it's an opportunity for you also to help out. You can be part of the team. So maybe you could see the pracharak as the prachar team leader, right? Like a department head who comes and organizes and helps promote Maharaji's mission. So if you want to be part of that team to serve Maharaji by promoting his mission and spreading his teachings, then do it. That's great. You're getting an opportunity to do tan ki seva. It's such a great opportunity. But again, don't think of it as being, you're not serving the pracharak. The pracharak is serving Maharaji and is leading a team, maybe a small team, maybe a big team, who are doing some prachar in that area. But everybody is serving Sri Maharaji. Nobody is serving any pracharak. As I said, no pracharak can do anything for you. All that we do is repeat Maharaji's teachings. And that's our good luck to get the chance to do that seva. So it's your good luck also if you get some chance to do some seva, participating in some prachar, maybe supporting a pracharak in their efforts, but you're serving Maharaji and you're not under any pracharak. But if you're in a locality where that pracharak comes, then that's great. That's a good support to your devotion, giving you a chance to do physical seva. And of course, pracharaks need the help as well in doing their seva and in doing the prachar of Sri Maharaji. So just work as a team. And regarding the question of one pracharak or multiple pracharaks, again, I mean, from a logistical point of view, there may be complications in trying to do too much, but there is no requirement of being ananya to any pracharak. You're ananya to Maharaji. That's it. And if you find it more simple to be affiliated with one pracharak as a part of that team, helping in that way, and that's easier for you and helpful to your devotion, then do that. If it's not helpful, then don't be a part of any prachara team. And if it's helpful to you to help multiple pracharaks who all come to your area, then do that. Whatever benefits your devotion the most. But there's no such thing as being ananya to a pracharak. Be ananya to Shree Maharaj Ji. What is the difference between doing seva physically? Okay, basically the person is saying, do I have to serve Maharaji through a pracharak? Again, the answer is no. You can serve Maharaji in your Roop Dhyan if you want. Just do Roop Dhyan and do constant seva to Maharaji. And if you view it as something beneficial, participating as a part of a team, doing prachar when a pracharak is in your area, supporting their programs, then that's great if it benefits you. And it's, of course, service to Maharaji as well. But you should not feel any compulsion to be under a pracharak or ananya to a pracharak. Just connect yourself directly with Shree Maharaji. We pracharaks are here to inspire, hopefully, to inspire people to do more devotion and more seva. But that's it. Your connection should be directly to Shree Maharaji. And I guess I'll save the other questions for next week. So next week I'll continue describing this process of sadhana, and I'll talk specifically about Roop Dhyan and constant remembrance of God. So we will have one Kirtan now before the Arti. Pracharak means preacher, by the way, in case anyone doesn't know what pracharak is. Pracharak means a teacher or a preacher. Mohi Sadguru Bori Asras Maha Asras Maha Sadguru Bori Asras Asras Maha Mohi Sadguru Bori Asras Maha Asras Maha Mohi Sadguru Bori Asras Dharma Artha Arukam Moksha Rasa Dharma Artha Arukam
काम मोक्ष रस
धर्म अर्थ अरु काम मोक्ष रस
धर्म अर्थ अरु काम मोक्ष रस
सबे लगत मोही अस रस महा
सबे लगत मोही कोरी अस रस
सबे लगत मोफी कोरी अस रस महा
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 हास रस महा
हास रस महा
हास रस महा
हास रस महा
रस महास रस रस महा मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
हास रस महा मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
हास रस महा मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
हास रस महा मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
अस रस महा मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
हास रस महा मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
कहाँ लौकाह बैकुंठ लोक बैकुंठ लोक रुचि नहीं टूक सपने हूँ मोरी अस रस महा
रुचि नहीं
रुचि नहीं टुक सपने हूँ मोरी अस रस महा
रुचि नहीं टुक सपने हूँ मोरी हस रस महा
रुचि नहीं टुक सपने हूँ मोरी अस रस महा
रुचि नहीं टुक सपने हूँ मोरी हस रस महा
हास रस महा
हास रस महा
हास रस महा
हास रस महा
रस मास रस रस महा मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
हास रस महा मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी हस रस महा
आस रस महा मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
हास रस महा मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी हस रस महा
आस रस महा मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
हस रस मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी हस रस
एक भावत चंचल नंद नंदन
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 एक भावत चंचल नंद नंदन
एक भावत चंचल नंद नंदन
एक वृषभानु लली भोरी अस रस महा
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 हास रस महा
हास रस महा
हास रस महा
हास रस महा
रस मास रस रस महा मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
हास रस महा मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
हास रस महा मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
हास रस महा मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
अस रस महा मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
हास रस महा मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
गिरिजा अजा जलधि जा दुर्लभ
गिरिजा अजा जलधिजा दुर्लभ
गिरिजा अजा जलधि जा दुर्लभ
गिरिजा अजा जलधिजा दुर्लभ
पियत रास रस ब्रज खोरी अस रस महा
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 हास 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 रस महा
रस मास रस रस महा मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
आस रस महामोही सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
आस रस महामोही सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
आस रस महामोही सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
आस रस महा मोही सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
आस रस महा मोही सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस
कह कृपालु अस सद्गुरु ऋण ते
कृपालु अस सद्गुरु ऋण ते
कह कृपालु अस सद्गुरु ऋण ते
कृपालु अस सद्गुरु ऋण ते
ऋण न कोटि कल्प कोरी अस रस महा
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 पियत रास रस पियत रास रस ब्रज खोरी अस रस महा
पियत रास रस ब्रज खोरी अस रस महा
एक वृष भानु लली भोरी अस रस महा
एक वृष भानु लली भोरी अस रस महा
ऋण न कोटि कल्प कोरी अस रस महा
ऋण न कोटि कल्प कोरी अस रस महा
हास 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 रस महा
रस महास रस रस महा मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
हास रस महा मोहि सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
आस रस महामोही सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
आस रस महामोही सद्गुरु गोरी अस रस महा
आस रस महामोही सद्गुरु बोरी अस रस महा
आस रस महामोही सद्गुरु
श्रीमत सद्गुरु सरकार की. If you have other questions that you would like answered next week, please do post them in the comments section of the YouTube channel, Radha Madhav Dham YouTube channel, or you can just email me directly. Also a reminder regarding our Ram Navami intensive, there's been a change. Although we'll be celebrating Ram Navami still on the actual day, Wednesday, April 21st, but the 3-day intensive has been moved to the weekend. So the intensive is now from Friday, April 23rd until Sunday, April 25th. But we'll still celebrate Ram Navami on Wednesday, April 21st. So please do come and join us for both of those events, the Ram Navami celebration and our Ram Navami weekend intensive. Jai Shri Radhe, we'll have Aarti now.